That's the name. Hey there, and welcome back to Off-Road Independence, my video series. My name is Eric McGrew. You may know me from my podcast, offroadindependence.com. You may also know me from beginnersfab.com as well. And in this series of videos, I'm not going into fabricating. I'm not doing that kind of stuff. That's beginnersfab.com. What I'm doing is going over a few components and things like that, some techniques for working on your vehicle, some important concepts to keep in mind and that kind of stuff. And today I'm going over a very simple component to an independent front suspension 4x4 vehicle. Now, there's a whole debate about independent front suspension, whether they're good, whether they're bad. And that's a whole nother topic. I won't even get into it because you have to take a lot of stuff into consideration there. However, if you are running an independent front suspension vehicle for off-roading, you may from time to time run into certain vehicles. For instance, my Trooper is one of them. I know that some of the Nissans have this problem as well. You'll find that the tie rod ends for the independent front suspensions have a weak link in them. The tie rod ends themselves, at least on the Trooper, are very small. They don't have real strong or real stout spherical bearings and that kind of stuff in them, so they have a tendency to wear out quickly. And then on the Trooper itself, the tie rod ends are female threaded, so the adjustment link that goes in the center that you spin with the wrench to straighten the toe out and all that kind of stuff is a very thin hex rod that's been turned down and threaded on the ends that thread into the female threaded tie rod ends, which causes a very weak link. Now, what this does is they are very easy to bend, and it creates a ton of bump steer because once you put larger tires on the vehicle, and my original tires on the Trooper were, I think, 29 inches. Now I have like 265, 75 16s, which are around 31 and 3/4, 31 and a half. They start to have a lot more leverage on them when you hit rocks and stuff because the diameter is larger, it sticks out further past the hubs and the knuckles. And that starts to, like, when you hit a rock or a rut, even in mud, it puts more flex or more force on the outside edge, and that makes the tie rod ends bend even easier. So the link in the center, the adjustment bar, is usually the one that bends the most, and if it bends once, then it becomes the weak link, and then it's easy for it to break. But what is the solution? Well, here in my hand, I have the solution. Some companies make heavy-duty tie rod ends. These here that I have in my hand came from a guy on Isuzu Trader on Facebook. It's a page for Isuzu owners. And these here are heavy duty. This is about 3 times this tie rod end here. This tie rod end here is about 3 times the size of a tie rod end that is typically on a Isuzu Trooper. And then instead of the sleeve being a very small 1/4 inch sleeve or something like 3/16 or something like that, or 3/8, this one is a tube that has been threaded on the inside, so it's actually thicker than the tie rod ends themselves, which makes this center link stronger instead of weaker like it is from the factory on the Isuzus. Now, once again, this is something that will help me out tremendously. It'll help keep my alignment better. It'll help save my tie rod ends from bump steer and that kind of stuff. The spherical bearings in the end of the tie rod ends are much stronger and beefier, so they'll hold up better against the impacts. And then this also translates to savings down the line. How so? Well, because these will take impact better and they're stronger, it'll save my center link ball joints and that kind of stuff, and it'll also save the steering box because it won't be taking such an impact. Now, there are other mods you can make if you're still having bump steer issues, if you do a lot of rock crawling and that kind of stuff, which would be like a steering dampener and all that. We're not going to get into that in this episode, but we may get into that in the future. Now, in the near future episode, I'll show you how to change out tie rod ends. They're not that hard to do. You will have to get an alignment afterwards, so keep that in mind. Now, for my Trooper, I bought this kit and it was around $120, $130. So keep that in mind if you're an Isuzu owner. I don't know what the direct company to buy through is for like Nissans and that kind of stuff, but I've heard that those exist out there as well. So keep that in mind. And till next time, thanks for stopping by and seeing my video. My name is Eric McGrew once again with Off-Road Independence. Don't forget to also check out beginnersfab.com, and you know, the very cool guys over at Oregon Trail Off-Road sent me this really rad t-shirt. I don't know if you can see that image very well, but it's a very, very crazy cool t-shirt, and they sent it to me, and I think they have them on sale over at their site for around $20 or something. So if you want to check them out, go over to OregonTrailOffroad.com and look at what they've got, and I think you'll really enjoy their stuff as well, so check them out. Till next time, my name is Eric McGrew, and I hope to see you soon on all of my stuff throughout the sites, offroadindependence.com and beginnersfab.com. You can also check out my Zazzle store if you like to check out my stickers and t-shirts.